What if I told you Manchester United's recent wins were nothing more than pure luck? That their so-called tactical brilliance is just a mirage, and the truth is far uglier than their fans want to admit. Today, we're diving deep into why Ruben Amorim's side barely scraped a draw against Nottingham Forest, and how their entire system is built on sand. When it comes to the strong Premier League teams on November 4, 2025, except for Manchester United and Tottenham Hotspur, everyone else has won. I expected that Tottenham Hotspur would fizzle out once they enter the Europa League schedule, and Manchester United would suffer the same fate. Manchester United is significantly behind among the top teams. Manchester United is the team worth discussing. I have to thank Amad Diallo for that stunning long-range goal. Otherwise, they would have lost. These kinds of goals don't happen often. So many Manchester United fans feel lucky they didn't lose against Forest on 1st November. As for the first goal from the corner kick, I couldn't see whether the ball had actually gone out of play before the corner was awarded. The assistant referee was on the far side of the goal line, which wasn't the most reliable position. Goal line technology would have been the most accurate, but we didn't get to see that. VAR doesn't cover corner kick decisions. Manchester United's corner goal was purely down to Casemiro's quality. The old-school method of delivering the ball to the edge of the 6-yard box and dominating aerially isn't the most popular corner tactic these days. Nowadays, teams prefer to curve the ball directly to the near or far post, with a higher success rate inside the 6-yard box compared to the older method of delivering it just outside. Manchester United still uses the old-fashioned approach, which requires someone with Casemiro's exceptional ability to score. Teams closer to the goal can easily defend it. If Erik ten Hag hadn't utilised Casemiro previously, a world-class player, they might have lost today. If not for Amad Diallo's wonder strike, they might have lost too. In other words, it was down to individual brilliance, set pieces and traditional methods rather than tactical coaching. Even Ruben Amorim's tactics became a liability today. Nottingham Forest, under new coach Sean Dyche, would know how to tighten up at home against Manchester United. They wouldn't be as naive as Brighton and Hove Albion, who tried to control the ball at Old Trafford and allowed Manchester United to counter quickly. Dyche isn't foolish, so I expected Manchester United's winning streak would end. However, Forest's key striker wasn't available, which prevented them from winning, so I guessed a draw. If Chris Wood had played, I might have expected a Manchester United loss. Of course, aside from Chris Wood, the most important factor for Forest is whether Nuno Espirito Santo is still the boss or head coach. Bringing in Dyche means reverting to a defensive setup. Luckily, they knew how to tighten up against Manchester United this time. Frank Aillet might have to wait another game. However, I'm not sure if Tottenham will tighten up. Recently, Spurs have slowed things down. Forest's tactics today were spot on. Even when facing Manchester United's goal kicks, Forest remained compact in their half, unlike Liverpool, who press high on the halfway line. Whether you deliver a high ball or not, I'll stay compact in the back half to neutralise your goal kicks. Manchester United, when faced with compact defences and slowed play, saw Bryan and Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha disappear. Against Brighton, they were unstoppable, even using hard space effectively. Today, when the game slowed down, they lacked creativity. They didn't know how to exploit hard space with room available. What kind of tactic is hard space in this era? It's basic stuff, even used by mid to lower table teams. Manchester United, without space, couldn't even utilise that. Without space, their players didn't know how to play. Players like Bryan and Mbeumo and Matheus Cunha only thrive in fast-paced games, not slow ones. Cunha and Mbeumo were desperate to speed things up today, constantly urging their teammates to pass forward quickly, but there was no space for them to exploit. That's why I've always said these two players aren't worth their price tags. They only perform in specific matchups, like against naive teams like Brighton, or when Chelsea's goalkeeper gets sent off. Arne's slot's 4-2-4 setup also plays a role. But when Forest isn't naive, these players don't perform, reverting to their true selves. Mbeumo was slightly better. Cunha couldn't even keep possession. Mbeumo, without space up front, didn't know what to do, but at least he blindly delivered crosses, earning 2 corners. Today's goal was somewhat related to his effort, though he didn't shine, he contributed indirectly. Cunha was clueless, losing possession repeatedly, and Mbeumo at least knew how to retain the ball, making fewer mistakes. Cunha's position could also be filled by Mason Mount, so Cunha's future looks bleak. Today it was all wasteful long shots. Mbeumo's predictable moves leave little room for opportunity. Let's not forget another player who only thrived in fast-paced games, Eberechiez. Arsenal's new signing initially struggled just like Mbeumo and Cunha, but recently he's learned to play. He's now able to hold the ball at the edge of the box, deliver precise passes and exploit hard space to break compact defences. He doesn't rush aimlessly, he holds the ball. Why does Mikel Arteta's coaching help players improve so quickly? In comparison, Ruben Amorim's shortcomings are glaring. Forest's struggles today also highlight why Manchester United won against Brighton. because Brighton didn't tighten up, fully cooperating with Manchester United's fast-paced play, plus some championship-level defensive organisation gifting Manchester United the win. 10 years ago, 3-4-3 only works when played quickly. Amorim has proven this season that all his wins, except the one against Burnley, which relied on a penalty, came from playing fast, confirming that 3-4-3 is an instant tactic. With space, it's quick, deadly, and effective. But every loss came from playing slow, whether forced or deliberate, proving that 5 defenders cannot dominate attacks. Manchester United's wins against Chelsea, Brighton, and Liverpool were counter-attacks, not possession-based attacks. Main attacks involve high ball possession, slowly building play. Every time Manchester United wins with 5 defenders, it's through fast attacks. They can't win with slow possession-based play, especially not through sustained attacks. In short, 5 defenders cannot dominate attacks. The conclusion is clear: 3-4-3 cannot be slow. Before the season, I expected Manchester United's 3-4-3 would be very fast and dazzling in the first half, with high points placing them around second or third. In the second half, fatigue and injuries would cause them to drop. But you must follow my approach. Even if the second half goes poorly, you must dominate the first half. Those 3 consecutive fast-paced wins were somewhat impressive, but now, with the first half not even over, the points and rankings aren't high enough, meaning Manchester United has missed the golden, physically optimal early season. Why? Because Amorim inexplicably chose to play slow in some early games. My biggest frustration. In those matches, Manchester United had the stamina to dominate, but instead they deliberately slowed down, losing points. Only reverting to fast play did they win 3 in a row. Don't forget, not every game allows fast play, like today against Forest, which as expected tightened up. These matches are unwinnable. Manchester United should have maximised points in the fast-paced games early on, but they didn't, choosing to slow down instead. You also see that Amorim's 3-4-3 always depends on the opponent. It's a so-called head count tactic. If the opponent's style suits you, you win. If not, you don't. To be blunt, you win when the opponent lets you, otherwise you don't. Do you think opponents will keep playing into your hands? Arteta and Pep Guardiola have already taught other Premier League teams how to counter Amorim's tactics. Even in Antonio Conte's era, teams adapted to Chelsea's 3-4-3 by tightening up in the second season. After Chelsea won the title by relying on fast play in the first, Sunderland, Liverpool and Brighton didn't learn. Forest adapted and nearly beat Manchester United. So 3-4-3 is fragile. You must follow the fast approach to win some games. Even then, it's not guaranteed, as opponents can tighten up. You're essentially praying for naive opponents like Brighton, who use wrong tactics and gift goals from defensive errors. After beating Brighton, haters claimed they'd proven me wrong. What about today? Here's the key question. Is Amorim's core concept of 3-4-3 to play fast or slow? Slot even admitted post-match that he was shocked by Amorim's high deliveries. Brighton was a sweaty win, so why not try to end attacks quickly against Forest? Why stick to slow build-up? Some say Forest defended compactly, making long balls ineffective. I say, even if they tighten up, Mbeumo and Mbeumo might not know how to play, but you should still deliver long balls. You can win corners. How did Manchester United score today? From a corner. If 3 centre-backs can't dominate attacks, what's the solution? Corners. Bully the opponent, especially with Casemiro in your team. Winning more corners is better than slowly passing against compact defences. Yet Amorim seemed content with slow play, earning just 5 corners. Forest, with low possession, managed 8 corners and scored from 1. Without Chris Wood, Forest struggled to score, but they still won corners. Manchester United, with high possession, should have won more corners, but with 5 defenders unable to dominate attacks, they couldn't reach the byline. They should have forced long balls to win more. Today, Senna Lamens' goalkeeping approach differed from the previous 3 wins, which relied on long balls. This time, it was short passes from the back. What's going on? Amorim, what's your plan? Are you using the right methods? 3 possibilities. First, Manchester United players are tired, so they can't play fast, but the forwards seemed eager. Second, Amorim believes the players are fatigued, so he's slowing things down, but it's still the first half. Third, Amorim thinks 5 defenders don't need to play fast. This seems most likely. It was rainy today. Lamens' goal kicks, free kicks, and build-up were mostly short ground passes. There were very few long balls, completely opposite to the Liverpool and Chelsea matches. Those games featured predominantly long balls. Today, there were only about 5 and they didn't find their target. Forest's goalkeeper, on the other hand, kept delivering long balls, creating more chances. Low possession proved more threatening. Ironically, Manchester United's better chances came from midfield scrambles following Forest's long balls. If your opportunities rely on opponents' long balls, why not deliver more yourself? Today, Manchester United's other players opted for more backward and sideways passes. They lacked the directness seen against Brighton. Even when they delivered long balls, they were more about changing direction, slow build-up, rather than quickly sending the ball forward as Tottenham does, looking for a target man in the box. This shows Amorim truly didn't mind slowing things down today. When opponents tighten up and you're out of ideas, force long balls to win corners instead of slowly passing. As for Amorim's stance, in a pre-match interview against Burnley, he spoke about the concept of build-up play. If there's space, play quickly. If not, play slowly. It sounded adaptable, like Bruce Lee's be water philosophy, adapt to the opponent. But Amorim seems to forget he's using 3-4-3. Everyone knows 3-4-3 cannot work without speed, so why wouldn't opponents tighten up? Ultimately, Amorim needs naive opponents to win. You've taught them that if they remain naive, you can win. For example, Liverpool had a moment of naivety. Sunderland and Brighton were even more naive. Chelsea's rainy match saw them reduced to 10 men early. How many Premier League teams are naive? Manchester City and Arsenal aren't. Forest, Fulham and Brentford won't be either. Aston Villa, coached by Unai Emery, excels at tightening up. Crystal Palace always defends compactly. West Ham under Nuno Espirito Santo focuses on possession. Potentially naive teams. Everton, who've won more through attacking this season. Tottenham, sometimes naive, sometimes not. Against PSG, they tightened up. Newcastle, mostly aggressive. Bournemouth might bite off more than they can chew. Burnley isn't naive, but will tighten up, though their level might lead to penalties. Out of 19 opponents, around 8 might be naive, plus 3 weaker ones. So 11 might be winnable, placing Manchester United around 8, which fits. To improve, Manchester United must draw against non-naive but unlucky opponents. Early in the season, I expected they'd rank higher, because even against non-naive opponents, they'd force long balls and play fast, breaking defences. But Amorim doesn't mind slowing down, leading to unnecessary point losses early on, failing to meet my initial expectation of a strong first half. Now the so-called Robin Hood pattern appears. Manchester United takes points from strong teams, where they can play fast, but struggles against compact defences. Even if some say the early fixtures were tough, and the upcoming schedule is easier, Manchester United actually struggles more against compact teams. They perform better against Liverpool and Chelsea. Unfortunately, even Arsenal and Manchester City know how to tighten up now. If Everton and Brentford also learn to defend compactly, it'll be even more challenging. 3 consecutive wins mean 3 naive opponents, but scheduling 5 consecutive naive opponents to dominate is difficult among 19 teams. The summary: 3-4-3 constantly depends on whether opponents are naive. You can't become the hero yourself. Strong teams competing for titles should create heroes. Why does Crystal Palace's 5-defender system work? They maintain low possession and won last week with low possession. Manchester United struggles with high possession. The biggest issue is that Amorim is great at selling his ideas, always portraying himself as a saviour in post-match interviews. But what he sells contradicts his tactical structure, what's commonly referred to as biting off more than he can chew. Another factor not yet reflected in the rankings. Manchester United's defensive deadlock is a serious issue, not fixable by simply buying players. 5 defenders also create a deadlock. Amorim's system exacerbates it. So what do you think? Is Amorim's system flawed, or is this just a rough patch? Drop your thoughts below, and don't forget to like and subscribe for more hard-hitting analysis. The truth hurts, but someone's got to say it.